Hello, this video is about our project, a literature review on fentanyl and its analogs. So first, let me introduce you guys to our group. This is Gwen, Leon, Vivi, Stevie, and that's me. Okay, that's not me. That's me. Yeah, more like it. Yeah, I'm doing a thumbs up. Now, let me introduce you guys to our partner. Deciding on a partner was not easy, and after a bit of ideas, we decided to partner with Substance. Substance is a non-profit organization that focuses on community drug checking, or, as they state in the About Us section of their website, we are a team of chemists, social workers, computer scientists, pharmacists, and people who use drugs, partnering to provide and evaluate drug checking services in Victoria, British Columbia. Their work is pretty cool and important to our local community, as it provides help in harm reduction to the drug users. This is important considering the opioid epidemic that we are living in, where fentanyl and analogs are taking lots of lives due to the contamination of samples. I strongly recommend you all to take a look at their website and or social media. They have a lot of useful, informative resources. Let me now then introduce you guys to our project. Upon discussion within the group, we all agreed on doing a more theoretical, literature research-based project. That is why we felt Substance would be a great partner for it, considering what they do. We then decided to study more about fentanyl and its analogs. We proposed to use the research information to create infographics that would be handed out by Substance to technicians and the general public, educating them on the most common fentanyl analogs. Before starting, I would like just to explain the format of this video. The video will be divided into two parts. First, since our project is about literature research, I will do a quick tutorial on how to do literature research. And in the second part, I'll focus on our experiences while working on the project, our plan of action, our research itself, the challenges that appeared, and the changes we had to incorporate. So just bear with me here while we learn how to research. So, the first part of our video will be very straightforward, and maybe you already know this, but since I'm aiming to reach a bigger audience, I thought it would be cool to introduce this concept in here and just to show how to do very quick. So let's go. The first thing you want to do is just use a good search engine or trustable sources, trustable website. Okay, here I have a few examples for you, but there are many more that you can find. Just make sure it's governmental or from some sort of university or scientific paper. But here I have the National Library of Medicine as an example. It's pretty good, and you can search for a lot of papers and also like databases and like informations on molecules, for example. There's also university resources that are also pretty good, especially if you have access to them, like it's the case here for UVic libraries. There's Google Scholar, and yeah, there's many others. I just use UVic's one in here, but you can pick whichever source as long as it's trustable. Okay, so we just search what we want. We could do an advanced search, but let's first just search. When we click in advanced search, we can specify some searches and filters, like we could choose by title, author, subject. We can choose the language, when was published, and so on. But let's keep it simple. Let's just do the regular one. Once you find a paper that interests you, could be, I don't know, anyone. Let's pick the first. You just get access to it. Nice, see? Now we have access to it. Now it's simple. Just select the papers that you desire to study, and in a Google Documents, you can just copy the links, paste in there, and start to write your ideas based on what you are researching, right? You can also use the DOI number of papers to get them and to find them pretty easy. So if you find the paper somewhere else, you can always try to use its DOI to search in your desired search engine, like it's the case of the UVic one in here. And again, once you have all that, just come to your Google Documents and you can start by just separating them into name and link to be easy to access, and go summarizing the information, and you can do your paper or your infographics or anything you want once you have your summary in here. And that's all for part 1. I hope it was at least a little bit useful. And now, in part 2, I would like to start by talking about our plan of action. So, we already decided that we would research fentanyl, but what about it? After discussing, we chose 4 main topics about fentanyl to research: its analogs, its binding affinity, its pharmacokinetics, and detection methods. We divided the topics as follows. Gwen researched binding affinity, Vivi and Leon researched pharmacokinetics, Stevie researched the analogs, and I researched the detection methods. After spending some time doing research, we started to summarize the main findings of each section into a Google Docs file. It was looking pretty good so far, but we were a bit lost on who was the target audience for our research, as a lot of it was already too complex to be aimed at someone without a chemistry background. We decided to have a Zoom meeting with our partner to better understand what from our research is useful for them and which infographics could we make, and the audience we would target for those infographics. And what changed? The feedback we received was not the best, and we had to incorporate some changes. Our partner pointed out that our research was too broad to fit in an infographic and quite complex too. Also, most of the researched information was not necessarily new for someone already working in the field. They then suggested we focus more on fentanyl and the common analogs they have been finding on site. With this in mind, we focused on using their weekly reported data and on researching the analogs they found during the last 2 months. Once we had all the research done, we started working on our infographic. So let's talk about results and our major findings. Here is the result of our work, the finished infographic. According to Substance, 64.9% of the fentanyl samples tested positive for unexpected actives. They also mentioned that fatal opioid overdose is due to respiratory depression, often caused by unexpected actives. We found out that in 2022, 43.4% of the samples they tested contained fentanyl, fentanyl analogs, and/or heroin. The second page of the infographic summarizes better our main findings. Fentanyl is a synthetic opiate known to be used as an adulterant in other samples. It is up to 40 times stronger than heroin. Carfentanil is an extremely common and dangerous analog. It is 100 times stronger than regular fentanyl, which is insane. Bromofentanil is new, so not that much information is known, but it is known to be stronger than morphine, but not stronger than heroin. Lastly, fluorofentanyl exists in 3 isomers with potency dependent on the isomer. Their potency is around that of the fentanyl one, but they are common because their precursors are easily available in the clandestine market. This is mostly what we got as results, considering a lot of the researched content was not actually used for the infographic. So let me talk about the challenges we faced. We picked a partner that already has chemistry knowledge and more knowledge than us in the specific subject of interest. It was very hard then to contribute with some useful information. A lot of what we researched was already known information for someone at Substance itself. Another struggle was that the selected topic is constantly evolving and information about it is not necessarily available or easy to find, especially when talking about the newer or less known fentanyl analogs. It was very hard to find useful information about, let's say, bromofentanyl. Also, considering the infographic aspect, it was very hard to narrow down on an audience as well as creating something useful for that audience, since our scope was broad and the information was getting complex very fast. Also, it was not easy to filter through the papers and find useful information out of all that fancy sciencey terminology. In conclusion, we created a harm reduction focused infographic that featured the most common illicit fentanyl analogs safety profiles for educating technicians and the public alike. The total scope of our research was far more vast than necessary for our infographic. In the future, it is important to remain in constant communication with our research partner such that the goal of our project is formalized and time isn't wasted researching unnecessary topics. I hope you have enjoyed the video. It took hours to record and edit, so if you liked, please click on the like button down here.